Hi, I'm Jared Thomas. Our Liberty Biblical Worldview states that man is an image bearer of God, yet is fallen and sinful. While there's evidence of our sinful nature all around us, I believe one of the greatest examples of the taint of sin in our world is abortion. Abortion is a major issue facing not only our country, but the American church today. Since the passage of Roe versus Wade in 1973, our federal government has basically made it impossible for individual states to pass any kind of laws banning abortions, regardless of what the citizens in those states would choose for themselves. I believe that Dr. Falwell put it excellently in his autobiography when he said that abortion is America's national sin and is a biological holocaust upon our nation. As Christians, we know that life is sacred because it's made and created by our Heavenly Father in His perfect image. We live in a very tough time in which to try to combat abortion from the stance of our faith, mostly because whenever you bring up your faith in an abortion argument, most people will dismiss you out of hand as being some kind of religious fanatic or trying to force your religious beliefs upon them and obstruct their right to choose. So instead, we need to defend our pro-life stance in such a way that unless we're discussing the issue with another Christian, we should leave our faith out of the discussion. As author and pro-life advocate Scott Klusendorf stated in his Pro-Life 101 pamphlet, the debate over abortion is not just a religious one, but in fact is a moral debate. I think this is a really good point because religious debates, no matter where they come from, really can set people to one side or another or turn people away if they don't subscribe to that religious label. But a moral debate transcends all religion barriers and focuses in on things that humanity as a whole can relate to. Without a doubt, as Christians, we should definitely seize the opportunity to defend life wherever we can. But because of how politicized this topic of abortion is, we can often see how it can become a very divisive topic among believers who may not want to drive people away from their churches. Sean Everton's article over the Promise Keepers, I think, presented a really good example of that. The Promise Keepers just go out of their way to avoid the topic of abortion so that they can stay out of the political realm and avoid that highly political issue. In my personal experience, I've known Christians who are devoutly pro-choice simply because they're afraid that to take a stance on the opposite side and be pro-life would drive people away from their church and potentially away from Christ. And while I can understand to a certain degree the point that they make there, we also shouldn't shy away from defending God's principles due to the fear that it might make people uncomfortable. Uh, However, when we do defend pro life issues, we should take into account that we come from a place of care and compassion so that we can show Christ's love through our arguments. Um, I believe that not only should we present our pro life arguments as a moral argument, but that we should also look as a church at how we're ministering to women who find themselves facing that terrible decision. We should look at making sure that we're not passing any kind of judgment, that we're not offering condemnation in our arguments, but rather we're looking for ways to lift people up who are having to face such a tragic choice in their lives. I believe that we also need to make sure that as a church, that we're not just looking at how we can defend life, but also how we can support mothers who choose life over abortion. Finally, I just believe that Dr. Falwell really presented a great example in his autobiography about how to confront abortion or really any issue for that matter by educating ourselves and becoming experts in that field so that not only are we familiar with the issue, but that we're also familiar about the process through which we can try to effect a change. Furthermore, I believe it's the duty of the church to influence matters of the government, just like Dr. Falwell pointed out. And therefore, our churches need to present a united front in the fight against abortion. Thank you.